Am I back online? Gotta reset up all this shit. I hate this thing. I hate this fucking application so much. Let's see. Wish it would let me end it myself. I need to change. Plus, it breaks the law. This application is breaking the law. Hey, Oddtick. Like, I won't get in trouble for it. It's the one who's breaking the law. Because it doesn't do the right thing when it creates a stream. Like, I don't want it to create a new stream. I want it to keep the original stream active and then continue it. But instead, if there's a hiccup, it ends the stream and makes a new stream on its own and names it its own thing. Like, it's called multi-stream with Restream IO. It renames it and does all this stuff. When it does that, it's actually breaking the law. You want me to explain why? I've actually already changed 3 things about this. I added a thumbnail. I put the title of the game. And I added the title of the game here. What it did was it changed this to Restream IO. It changed this to nothing. And then it changed this to entertainment when it was originally gaming. It changed my thumbnail to nothing. And then, you see this part down here? Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and other laws. This law, a federal law that was recently passed, what it does is when it shuts down my stream without me telling it to, and then creates a new stream without it telling me to, what it does is, notice how neither of these things are checked. Neither of these boxes are checked. Let me show you something. I'm streaming right now with neither of those boxes checked. Take a look at this. I'm going to try to create a new event. So when I click on this stuff to make a new event, right now it says I'm already streaming. So it comes to this. Normally it doesn't come to this. Normally it goes to somewhere different. What happens if I click on this? Does this just go? Okay, here's the screen it normally goes to, right here. If you're going to make a new event, this screen pops up like this. So notice there's no settings yet in the background. Technically a new event has not yet been created because I'm not allowed to create it. I'm not allowed to stream until I've created the event, right? So I'm going to just say to reuse the past settings. Nice, easy thing. Notice how that's already checked. I'm going to cancel that out. And then I'm going to dismiss this. And notice that it creates this fresh page to do some new stream. Stream's still not created yet. I haven't hit the create button. Notice how this is automatically checked. I can't uncheck it. I have to pick one or the other. There's no option here to not pick one of these two things. I have to pick one in order to create the stream. Now take a look at this. Right. We're going to go into Stream Now Classic mode. And we're going to read a little something. You're legally required to comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and or other laws. You're obligated to tell us if your live stream is made for kids. Use live stream control room. So you're not supposed to use this anymore, and you can't use it anymore because they don't have an option in this old classic one that everyone prefers. The way they finally made everyone finally switch to the new version of it that no one likes. Because first they like, notice how there's no dark mode on this one? Like, that's because they never bothered to add that feature. Their whole website has dark mode. The only thing on their entire website that doesn't have dark mode, classic streaming. Because they made sure not to add it as a way to encourage you to only use their new stream method that they came up with, which no one liked. And they kept adding more and more features to this new stream method and taking features off of this, but it never worked. Everyone preferred this because this is just superior. This fucking thing that they came up with here is trash. No one likes it. So anyways, the last straw, the thing that they did that made it so that people now, they just can't use it at all, is there is no way at all to tell this section here that this stream is not meant for children or it's meant for children. And then they put it right up here to make sure you know that you have to go to classic. I mean, you have to go to the normal new live room, which looks like this, in order to be able to do an actual stream and comply with the law. So yeah, that's really good on you, YouTube. So classic, that's why no one uses classic, because you can't comply with the law now while using classic. However, this thing where I told them, like I said, dismiss, we'll create something from scratch. It auto selects not made for children because I selected that on my channel. I said that it's not just made for kids, like, because made for children means you're specifically trying to target people under the age of 13, where I use too much profanity and stuff like that to try to target people under that age. Mine's for ages 13 and up, not 13 and down, or whatever. I don't know, whatever that mark is that they have. Mine's for the older generations because I use profanity and stuff like that. So on my channel, I told it to try to select this automatically when it can. But the first time I used this, it wasn't selected. And if you tried to create a stream without selecting it, it wouldn't allow you. You have to pick one. This stream is currently live, and let me cancel this so no changes are made. This is its settings. Notice a little problem with these settings, because I'm noticing a small problem with these settings. This is why every time this happens, I make it such a big deal about it. I'm like, oh my God, it made another stream. I have to go in there, and you remember how I say I will not do a multi-stream if it spams my channels with these videos because I might get in trouble. Every time I have to go in and change this, and I don't know if it counts retroactively. I don't know if it's like, whoa, you spent a little time streaming without it. Are you trying to trick us? And I'm like, well, I'm not legally in trouble here. It's not my fault. This thing is doing this against my will. I have to fight it to get it to work correctly. So I'm technically covered, but that doesn't mean they're like just because you're technically covered doesn't mean you won't temporarily in like bring someone's wrath will temporarily be brought down upon you, and then you have to prove your innocence or they'll burn you at the stake. Fucking stupid shit. Disable the auto fucking stream create and end. That's bullshit. All right, so it's Monster Hunter we're playing. But yeah, I have to do this every time. Entertainment to gaming. The game's title is Monster Hunter World. And I don't even bother adding tags and all that other shit anymore. I just can't stand it. And now it updated. All right, and now it's updated. The audio stream bit rate 0 is lower than the recommended. Well, yeah, I know. This is part of the bug of me streaming at Twitch's thing. It's not enough for YouTube. YouTube needs like 10 times, well, twice the data. YouTube needs twice the data to have like 75 to 70% the quality of the image that Twitch gets on half the data. Like with Twitch, you can give them half the data that you give YouTube, yet you get like a 30% or something like that better image. Like YouTube's compression algorithm for their videos is fucking trash. It looks so bad. I can give you an example of it, actually. Once we get the game back up again. Gotta pop back out chat again. Because that's the thing, too. Every damn time I gotta pop out chat, too. Close that new one. Resize it to the right size. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys the difference in picture quality with Twitch and YouTube. It's significant. All right, let's pull up Twitch first, and then we'll find that spot on YouTube. So we'll find the same frame on YouTube versus Twitch and compare them. Yeah, I sent them a suggestion. I didn't really tell them about the law breaking part and all the other stuff because it's just too complicated for them to maybe bother even reading. Just kind of made it short and sweet. Hopefully they'll understand that it's actually just logically more efficient and more convenient in almost every way for them to not auto cancel and auto start new streams if there's an interrupt in the data. It is way more work for that to happen than than it is for you to for them to just keep the stream going until you cancel it manually. Because if it auto cancels and auto creates a new stream, you can't just leave that how it is. You have to go into the metadata and change it, or else they're breaking the law on your or even you might be, I don't know, on their behalf, but unknowingly. I know, so I go out of my way to fix it, but other people might not know that, and so if that happens to them, they're unknowingly breaking the law on the behalf of Restream by continuing to stream without changing that. I'm good, Aiden Gar. Man, come on. Good screen. Yeah, I'm done with all the analyzing of the weapons and stuff for today. Though I did make some very interesting discoveries about the game. You and I, guys, we have insight into the game that no one else has, probably. I doubt very few people look at the game the way I do sometimes. All right. Okay. It's gonna be hard to do the comparison because it darkens the image. I'll have to, when you pause on Twitch, it darkens the image. All right. It darkened it, so here's the Twitch image I'm looking at. As you can see, it's much darker because, let me unpause it. See how now it's much brighter. But we'll still do the comparison, and I'll show you how we'll do it here. So, let's close you and do the attack again. Oops, I have the stream paused still. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna spin the camera, and we're gonna do an attack. And we're going to try to pause it right when the attack lands. What the hell? I missed the pause, I guess. Okay, let's do it again. Damn it! I'm for sure pressing the pause button. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, let's pull up YouTube streaming. Oh, right there. It was right there for a second. Okay. And let's start getting to that exact frame. Let's look at the Twitch frame. Uh-huh. And let's look at the YouTube version of it. Close. Okay, I think that's the exact frame. Uh-huh. And And then the Twitch version, please. Yep, that's the exact frame. Okay. So as I said, it's going to be a bit harder to make out some of the detail just because it's darker. But imagine that it doesn't darken it when you pause it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the sword and the armor, because that's one of the things that are in motion, and that's one of the things that YouTube does the worst of all the things. So if you notice, let's start with this. Let's try to see if we can see this on YouTube. So we have to ignore some of the duller bits because it darkens the screen and it just makes duller things hard to see. So I'm going with the brighter bit of the sword so you can see how defined that inlay is right there on the sword. I could actually maybe help you see it a bit better by doing this. Filter, add. I don't want any kind of color correction. I need, is it, no, not color correction. No, color correction might be right, but not sharpen. Color correction, yeah, gamma, here we go. So we're artificially lightening it up, but that doesn't like help with the fact that it's been lowered in color and then raised back up. So the bits like here might still be hard to see, but if we look at the more defined things like that right there, the inlay, you see how clear that is? And now look at the blade itself, see how sharp it is? It's not very pixelated. It's a rather sharp, straight thing. It's not blurry or anything like that, right? Now, let's turn off the color correction. So, get back to the dark image. And then we're going to click to the YouTube frame where I paused on the exact same frame. They do not darken their image. Now, notice the inlay is completely invisible almost. You can barely make it out here, right? But you don't really see where it ends. And up here, you can't see it at all. Like, you don't know where it starts or ends up there at all. But if we go over here to the Twitch side, you can see that one. You can see the top one. You can see little lines going off in those directions. You can see a single line coming up here. You can see all this inlay and the sword while it's in motion. Very smooth blade to a smooth point coming around. You can see the details in her hands and stuff like that. And then we switch back. You can see the lines in the cloth separating all the things. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And then we go to the Twitch side, I mean the YouTube side, and it's, I see 2 lines. Technically, you could say that's a third line because it's a color shift, but I see this line, and I don't see where this other line is down here. I see this line, and I think there might be a line here. And this is a blurry fucking mess, and it's jaggy now. And notice, like, you see there's like blurry bits of the, like the blades, it's almost like there's energy coming off the blade, like there's little bits of silver shooting out here, here, and here, here. And that there's jaggies. Like it goes doop, 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 like that, pixelated now. And this just looks like a whatever the fuck. That's a blurry mess. And then here's the best part, right? Here's the best part. The sword almost looks like it's just a straight piece. You can't actually, actually it's like that. It goes in like that. Look here at this barrel too, maybe? I don't know. We'll compare that. This barrel here looks really blurred out. This whole section looks really blurred out. That might be because of like the energy blast recently of hitting the thing. And you can't see any detail in the grass, right? Let's switch to the Twitch version. Yeah, I can actually see. It's still kind of a bit blurred though here with this one. Let me actually use the color correction image. Oh, This is not gonna work. That's an image within an image. I'm gonna turn back on the color correction to brighten it so I can see the grass a bit better myself. I have to full screen it. I can't really tell if it's much better. The blade, I think, is one of the best options there for that. I really wish Twitch didn't darken the image when you pause it. It makes sense to darken it from a technical standpoint. Darkening the image when you pause it will reduce burn-in. So it's just them trying to prevent you from having burn-in if you pause the stream and walk away. Just, you know, a quality of life type of thing that YouTube never even fucking thought to implement. But it does make it so that it's hard to distinguish these two things, because one is artificially darkening it, right? Let's undarken it again, because when you artificially darken it and then artificially lighten it, it loses detail, unfortunately. It's better just to look at it the darker version of it, which you can see less detail still. But you still can make out, though, like I said, with this version of it, even with it lightened, you see here now, we can zoom in. Actually, let's zoom in. You know what we'll do? Here's what we'll do. We'll create a new, let's delete this, right? Remove. Yes. And then let's close that and make a new display capture. I'm thinking. Can I just like copy it? Copy. Paste reference? Okay, what did I just do? Something changed. Aha! Oh, okay. Now what happens if I grab you? There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So, look at the sword now. See the detail here? You see how you can see this is two separate patterns that come together, and that there's a little star burst here, and it radiates out and up. You can easily see the whole thing of that blade. See that sharp bit there that goes into the whole blade, and how it's relatively smooth all the way down. Even when zoomed in, you only finally start to see a little bit of jaggies when zoomed in. However, when we go over to the YouTube side and look at the same image zoomed in, well, notice the tip of the blade is no longer a good tip. There's a section of it missing right here. See the inlay, you see the beginning of it, but then it looks like it's merged it together to be one golden glob of a mess of shit that's here, instead of two distinct individual patterns. One goes up and stops, and the other goes up and stops, and they are not touching. Instead, it looks like there's just like this gold shit all over it. Like, and it's all like someone rubbed gold slime shit on it. And they're all one part instead of being two separate parts. And this is just completely smooth. It doesn't look like there's any radial bursts or anything in there. Let's see if her hand has a difference too. The blade's going to be the best thing to look at because it's the blade was the thing that was in motion the most. But let's look at her hand here, because I can't even tell that that's a hand. I only know it's a hand based on the arm and the pattern. Here we go, the pattern of her arm. You can kind of almost make out that there's, like, when you zoomed in, you see that there's this purple line here, but actually without zooming in, it actually doesn't look that purple to me, believe it or not. It's only when I'm looking at the zoomed in version of it, and it actually looks more purple because it's zoomed in, I guess. But, alright, so that and that. And oh, look at the fact, look at the gold. The fact that you see the different bits of the gold and the different lines inside the gold and how that's radiating out as well. But let's see how much more that happens with the other thing. Right, unfortunately it's going to be a bit darker, obviously. The hand's about the same, and that's about the same. Mainly because it's, the colors are going to be more difficult. The colors are definitely going to be more difficult to notice. It's going to be more things like this, where you can tell it's not a big glob mess of shit. You can see it's two distinct things that don't match, and then the radiating out parts, and you can see that's actually just a full tip of a sword. But the best part here, I finally did notice here, because like that's a bad example, I guess, because it's hard to notice the difference in the shading of a color. It's better just to look at bold lines that have been in motion. These haven't been in motion, so you can't really compare those as bold lines. But take a look at this. Look at just the light purple spot here, right? Oh, wait, you can't see that. I have to move the camera down. Here we go. That right there, my friends. Let us take a look at this image. See this? All these individual little lines you can make out, all that fine detail. Look at how many lines you can see. You see the start of it. We'll count the start as 1 and 2. That's the start of it right there and there. But within that, you can see at least 3 extra lines in that light purple, right? And that's with it being darkened. Without it being darkened, take a look at this. You see 1, and then 2, and the third one is supposed to be there, and you can almost see it. Look at this. Look at the shield. It's like the shield. I wonder if this is a thing. I need to check the other stream to see. Because I just noticed the shield has ghosting. The shield's here, and the shield's there. I want to see if the other one has that. That's kind of weird. That might just be an aspect of the game. Yeah, there's ghosting in this one too. Look, the shield's there, and it's there. That's weird. Let's see. Man, I really wish that, I really wish it didn't darken it. Oh, how about that? That might be it. I don't know if I was moving the camera. That might be useful right here. Let's zoom in again one more time. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was way more zoom than I intended. Where did it go? I don't even know where the hell it is anymore. Hello? Okay, I need to... Oh wait, did I unpause it? Is that why? No. What happened? I don't... Did I just zoom in that far somehow? Where... What? What's going on? Oh, I unpaused it. Fuck. It's not helping that it's nighttime in this fucking game. Is there any way to... Trying to think of something I can do with it being night. Yeah, that's the side right there that you were seeing. Where it just showed it as a big glob of a mess. That's what it looks like unmoving. Oh, you can't see shit. It's still showing the, okay, turn off the display. There we go. Right. Why does it have to be night, video game? Okay, what am I gonna do here? These are pretty bright. Damn it, it went too far away when I finally paused it. I had to click twice to pause it. I don't know why. Okay, let's just do this one. This one isn't as bright as that one, though. Why? Okay. Pause it. Oh, what the hell? I'm missing it. I'm looking at the camera. I'm not looking at the game. Jesus, come on. Why was that so hard? There we go. For some reason, it takes multiple clicks to pause it. Son of a bitch. Son of a... Ooh, it's hey! The sun's coming up. Okay, never mind. I don't need fucking barrels. We can just get to a point where the sun looks nice on my sword and stuff. So I need it to be bright specifically because of Twitch darkening it when you pause it to save, you know, for burn-in and all that shit. So I need it to... Sun still isn't high enough. What does the sword look like after that? Ah, yeah, that's the one. That's a good one right there. So if we do this, and I get ready to pause it. Oh, come on. Screwed it up. Hey. Why is it slightly darker again? Okay, there we go. It's actually kind of too bright on the sword now. Damn it. Let's just do the tree. The tree's probably a good position now. Then we can do a whole bunch of attacks. Why? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I can't get it to pause accurately anymore. Trying to get it to pause on specific like movement where the sword's very visible but I just can't get it to happen. There we go. That actually worked that time. It's about damn time. Okay, and then get back to you. It's actually getting blurrier for some reason on both platforms at the moment. Oh, Jesus. Okay, wait, where was I? What frame was I on? Take a look at this. Okay. So I wasn't in position yet. I moved again. Did it again around. Oh, was that it? Yeah, I think that was it. Okay. So let's go back before the attack. And there we go. Alright, so. Holy fuck. I wish I had paused on that frame. I'd like to see what that looked like on Twitch. That is a fucking super blurry mess. Alright, so over here, this is the frame. So the sword is pointed almost directly down towards the camera, and I'm looking in that direction. And, okay. Let's see. Now let's start advancing the frames forward. Yep, there it is. That's the exact frame. Alright, here you go. This is a much better example because it's daytime in the swing. So, this here is one version of it. Take a look at the blade. Take a look at the character. Take a look at her foot. How it's partially disappeared. How the other leg doesn't exist in the game yet. It doesn't even exist, right? Her arm kind of weird. You can't even tell that she has glasses on. It's just all kind of her face and her hair kind of blend into each other. And you can't tell where her hand is. You can't tell that there's any inlay on this sword. It's just kind of a greenish, goldish colored middle part of a sword with a blunt tip. Uh-huh. And then, take a look at this. And it's darker, of course, like I said. They try to help with burden. That is the exact same frame. First off, her leg is solid, as you can see. She has a solid fucking leg. Yes. It's not disappearing. Look, there's a sword here. I didn't even know there was a sword here. There's a shadow. There's her other leg. There's the radiating inlay of the blade to its nice sharp tip. You can see her nose. I forgot that you couldn't see her nose. I thought she was looking further away. You can see the definition in her ear. You can see her nose. It's kind of hard to make out she has glasses, but I think that if the screen was lighter, you'd be able to see the glasses better. I think that's part of a darkening it up thing. This is one, and then the other is the YouTubes. And the last thing, this is such an amazing, like, crazily different example of how different these things look, that I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I'm going to zoom in. Okay. And then I'm going to take a screenshot. There we go. This needs to be saved for posterity. Posterity. Stop it, brain. Just say the words I want. Alright, so paste a new image. Yes, expand the canvas size. And cut all of that, please. Let's turn that off. This display capture here. Did I capture the correct display? I thought I had zoomed in. It wasn't showing the zoom in. Okay, let's go back and so it shows the zoom in. Because it's not zoomed in, is it? Like it's not zoomed in at all. But I had zoomed in, but it didn't show it. Like it's zoomed in on the lower picture on the right, on the top right, but it's not zoomed in on the other. So let's do that again. Let's take another screenshot. That one's not correct. Wait, is it not screenshotting the full screened image maybe? Let's try it again. Print screen. Okay. And then reduce that. And paste. And then paste into a new image. Okay, yeah, because I don't have the display turned back on again. Alright. Okay, good, good, good. Alright, that's good then. All I gotta do then is turn you to here, you to there. And now, when I turn you, I clearly see it's zoomed in and I only see part of this bar on the side. So, oh, I'm gonna see the full thing. When I'm zooming in, I'm not capturing the screen a second time. So what I need to do is I need to full size this. Then turn off the display capture. No, turn on the display capture. And then select it and then zoom in. Okay, that's better. All right. I figured out what was going on. I was like, what's going on? Because I've never had to do this kind of thing before. There we go. So now we put that there. And I screen capture that. Okay. Oh, wait, put that off the screen. There we go. I screen capture that. Bap. Okay. Wait, that's not the right way to screen capture. Bap. Now, I turn this display off. I click to there. I click to there. I open this up, and now when I paste it into a new image, perfect. Okay. So now I want to cut that out. Edit, cut, paste into new image. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Now I open you up. This was a really weird way of doing this, so I've never really had to do this, capturing through OBS in this way and getting these differences, because this is such a fucking big deal. The differences in video between Twitch and YouTube are insane. And so now we take the YouTube one. Wow. And we print screen. Okay. And then we go ahead and close you again. And we paste it in its own image. I'll just paste a new layer, it's fine. And then cut that same thing out. Same section we need to cut out. There we go. Edit. Cut. And then we're going to paste. No, then we're going to go image, canvas, resize, and then I'm going to increase it by, say, 200%, right? 400%. Oops, that is not what I wanted. Edit, undo. That wasn't canvas size. What the hell? Image, canvas size, increase it by about 400%. Now that might seem crazy, but you'll see why. Top left, please. Okay, that actually was too much, but it's fine. It's fine. I can lower it later. Now, block order for 16 hours. Now we open up the screen share again, right? We reset the transform of this thing. Reset transform. And then we well, so it's easier for you guys to see this stuff. Why does it keep going in that direction? Probably because I can choose to make it go in that direction. Well, I don't know. Why does it? No, yeah, there it is. I can't choose. There we go. Let's center this. There we go. Now let's move here. Zoom in a bit. There we go. All right, perfect. And we take the YouTube variant. Oh, which I haven't pasted yet, I guess? Huh? Wait, did I copy it, not paste it? Paste into new image? Okay, there it is. Yeah, I haven't pasted it yet. Okay, I was like, what the hell's going on? Or new layer, I mean. Okay. Here we are. And let's zoom out a bit more. And I think I might artificially darken this one, because that one's artificially darkened. Rather than artificially darkening then lightening, I'll just darken this so that it matches perfectly. There we go. Oh, I can move it up a layer and instead. And that would allow me to move this straight to there.
This is bullshit. You are fake news.
Now it is identical. This is the exact same frame. Side by side. So now, zoom out slightly. So you can see the exact same frame side by side. Doesn't even look like the same fucking thing. I don't know. Is it the exact same frame, or is it just the exact same part of that animation? Look at this. Look how far the barrel is. We might have to go to the YouTube again and advance it a few extra frames. Maybe because I did the attack twice, right? Wait. Holy shit, look at this weird shit that's happening with this image. None of that happens with the Twitch stuff. Okay, I think I did the attack twice maybe, and now if I do it again, that'll be the exact same frame. Nope, this is where I started walking back. Okay. So it must have been, maybe I paused it on the first time I attacked instead? And this isn't it here? Oh wait. That's the exact same frame, I think. Shit. Ah, but that was so good. I wish I had paused it on the other one. The problem is I can't advance frame by frame with Twitch. The hell? I just noticed something else weird. Aha! That's the problem. So what I want is an action frame like that. Let's see if we can catch that kind of thing again. Where the render settings haven't quite gotten the ability to get them together. Okay, so let's go and go ahead and pause you. Press play on that thing. Go for here. And the important part is I know where I need to get it now with Twitch. The important part is going to be Twitch, because I can't advance Twitch frame by frame, unfortunately. So what I need to do is get it set up the same way it was. Damn it. Whoa, wait. What attack was I doing? How did I... Damn it. I gotta rewatch the YouTube one, unfortunately. Because I don't have any fucking clue what attack I used to get it to pass over the leg like that. That was a really good fucking example. Okay, and okay, here's where I started doing shit. So what did I do? And how did I have the camera? Because that was like perfect. It's starting to get darker in the game again. When it's not gonna happen the same way when the light changes. Come on, when the fuck did I do it? I need to know what attack I used. Wait, was that it? Aha. Okay. I did... What the hell did I do? Ah, I did that and then circle. This and then circle by itself. No? 2 triangles? Yes, I did that. Okay. So, alright. I'm disabling all emotes. Okay. Here we go. What? At what point? What angle was I going at? What angle was I going at to make it pass over the arm, like the between the pass between the camera and all that shit? Oh, that was much different angle than I thought I was using. So it was like this way? Yes. Okay. So here we go. Let's get the Twitch side ready, because that's where I got to do the pauses. And it's going to be hard, especially now it's already getting dark, so it's going to fuck it up. And that wasn't correct angle or camera angle. There we go. That actually was perfect camera angle and attack angle. Go. Damn it, I keep pausing it at the exact same spot, which is the wrong spot. It didn't even fucking pause. I hate that. I hit it the perfect time and it didn't pause. Okay. Oh. Interesting. That's not what I was looking for, but that was an interesting development. I've learned another new thing. Son of a bitch. Can we get into the light, please? Fucking sun having to go down. Fucking sun. Wait, what's happening? Why is it not attacking? Damn it! And you can't. Is there any way to advance frame? Why can't I advance frame by frame? That would be awesome. I fucking paused it at the right time again and it didn't pause. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna hit spacebar instead. Damn it, I paused way too early because the spacebar is much more responsive. Okay. Perfect. That is perfect. Okay, now YouTube. That is the questionable frame. Hello, YouTube. Right here. And then we go. Difference between two. We go back to what frame are you on here? To where it's pointed slightly to the right. It's even a bit blurry on Twitch. Means on YouTube it's gonna be like, what the fuck is happening? Okay, there we go. I think that's the same frame. No, that's not. Is that even the same swing, maybe? I don't think that's the same swing because that's not the same frame. And on YouTube, when I advance it to the next frame, it goes to a completely different spot, maybe? Alright, let's take a look at this. How about that? There, we'll look at the shield. That's what I should look at, the shield position. What the hell? Is that the same frame? No, it can't be. It's not. It's not. It's not. It can't be. Alright, so then advance it one extra frame. That's the same one? Okay, let's take a look at the... Holy fuck. Okay, it's off to the right. No, this must be two separate attacks. Let's start advancing frames and see if I attacked one more time. Let's press play. That's taking too long. Wait, that was the last attack. I'm not doing it anymore. Wait, no, I am moving. Never mind. Okay, here it is. This is it. Okay. Oh, she's so fucking elegant looking. With that first attack, so elegant. So elegant. There it is. I think. Okay. Yes. Finally got the same image, I think. I don't think it is. Son of a bitch. About to give up. Wait a second. I think I got it. Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah, and this is much more reasonable. That other one, I was blown away by how big the difference was. This one's a bit closer, but it's still like, this is more like the first comparisons we were doing. Yes. But is there anything new to notice? A little bit more detail in the inlay. A bit more jaggies. Actually, that's a lot more than, there's a lot more jaggies here. Thinking. Yeah, the problem is, oops. The darkening is the problem. You might be able to attribute some of that to darkening. Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna darken it artificially and see what happens. I just need to turn on the display capture. There we go. And then leave it the way it is. I want to zoom in on all of that in. Oh wait, it's not showing all of it. Okay, hold on. I think this will make it show. There we go. And edit, transfer. Reset transform. There we go. Aha! There we go. And move you over a little bit more. Okay. Print screen. Okay. Paste into new image. There we go. Then let's do a quick one of the other one before I want to do all the cutting and stuff. I want to get this out of the way right away because then I can put chat back in its right spot. Go back to here. Get the YouTube one. What's that? The YouTube one. Which one? Which one did I pay? Copy first. Darker or lighter? It's lighter, so that's yeah. So let's do the which one next, and then print screen. Paste it. Image. No, new. How about if I paste it into a new layer, and then I lower that layer below it, and then I just put it right above it instead of into a completely new image. And then on top of that, I then just go merge down, and then I just grab all of you, and then I cut you out, paste you into a new image. Wow, well that was a lot faster that time. Okay. Now I'll be able to see chat properly, and I can turn the emotes back on. Everyone loves to spam me with emotes at the worst possible times. Okay. Alright. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is grab the bottom bit and then start to darken it. Image, adjust, brightness and contrast. Okay. Until it seems be the same exact. Oh, it's more than just darker. They dole it out as well. More like a gamma change than a brightness. Okay, so let's go to adjust. What would I do there? I guess hue and saturation instead? And then lower the aha. And they're nearly identical now. Almost no difference in the images. We are. So let us now turn the display share back on. Should have it all properly set up now. Top is the Twitch, the bottom is the YouTube. And the weird disappearing thing is actually a feature of the weapon itself. But let's see. How did you think I wanted to zoom in that much? So this is the Twitch barrel. We're gonna look at the barrel first, because this is a really good hard line against that background. See, there's a little bit of stuff here and there, and then that's what it is. Good, and then there we go, the wick. There's breaks in the wick. Let's see. Go to that barrel here. Oh, I think personally it does the wick better. I think the wick completely disappearing, it definitely doesn't have as much detail in it, but I think the lack of detail helps when it comes to the wick, because the wick kind of just disappears and then there's a little bit of a line here, whereas being able to see part of the wick actually makes it look worse, if you ask me. But let's take a look at the barrel itself. If I was to grab you and start to move you down here to this, so there's a barrel. Indeed, you can see the differences here. So it's a lot more muddied, and because of the muddying, I think that stuff like this looks better than to see, because right here you see the wick so much better that you see a break in it. This merges all the colors together, whereas this tries to keep them separated, and because of that, I think that this technically looks better. And this is the YouTube side, by the way. But everything else, besides maybe this part of the barrel here, I think looks better on Twitch. Here, this part of the barrel here is just kind of, it doesn't exist. Notice that the barrel comes in, deforms in, and it just shows the ground behind it. Where over here, it actually still shows that the barrel exists. It doesn't like go in and out. Here it kind of deforms in, it goes in, and then it deforms in again, and then it comes in, deforms in again. Where here, see the exact same thing? See how it actually goes in only a tiny bit there. So there must have been some kind of weird motion in this part that made this difficult for them to render out on both of them. But notice that you can actually still see it. It goes in a little bit, and it just makes it so that it's like kind of wavy a bit, where this makes it so that that part of the barrel is just gone. It doesn't exist anymore. See that? And then it goes in and curves up, and then out, where this just kind of waves in a little bit. And then over here, it goes on a straight line down and then curves to the side again. See that? See that straight line down? Where here, it continues to curve to the left, and then it bends in a bit, and then it goes back down. See what I mean? Little subtle things like that on the entire picture. This is super zoomed in. On the entire picture, start to make a big difference. So as you can see, there's more definition in all this stuff. This is something in the background here. Like you can make that out. That's just kind of maybe a shadow or a bright spot on it. Whereas this you can tell is like a bump that comes up off of it. Like you can see that there's a little dot over here, where here you just see a smudge. So let's zoom out now. And get this barrel back. Okay. Let's pick something else here that was in motion that's bright. I don't think the sword stuff is going to matter as much here, because they actually both did a bad job this time on the sword. Let's grab the shadow too. Why not? And the shield. There we go. Why did I cut it? Yeah, they both do a really bad job. Yeah, they're both like having weird squares appearing on it and stuff. In this shot, they both do like a really bad job. This is a really difficult one for Twitch apparently too. Normally you can see a big difference between their quality on the motion shots like this, but this time they're both doing pretty bad here. If you look at the Twitch side here, and we take a look at like this spot here, notice that they're adding squares where they shouldn't be. What might be happening here with this one is this might be the restream processing it wrong, and so both of them get it really wrong, because this is like both of them getting it super wrong. I'd have to say, if anything, I would rather have this one because it's so much more blurry. I think this is I think the image was sent poorly is what's going on here, because they're both doing the exact same thing. Like look at this specifically. Like I said, look at this bit here specifically. See how it's squared off very precisely? And see how they did the same thing exactly in the exact same spot? That is very unlikely to do that. Like if they were rendering out a good image that they were sent, it is extremely unlikely that they would have both did that square in the exact same spot and the exact same way. Notice that this one has additional square here, right? This one has the same square, but it's harder to make out. They did a worse job at rendering out the square. So I think that unfortunately, these two comparisons aren't as good, because I think the image quality sent is not good, period. And because that, yeah. And that's why I think I would like the YouTube version of the character better in this, because the YouTube character is blurry in general, and because she's just so fucking blurry and hard to make out, you don't make out the hard lines of all these little squares they put everywhere. Like this one, you can see the hard square right there, Whereas this one, you start to see the start of the square, but then it kind of blurs in with the other shit. I think a good example of the fact that the image was sent really poorly, like this was either my computer doing a bad job temporarily, or Restream doing a bad job at sending it. Because a good example of the difference in quality in the image, and Twitch traditionally doing a much better job at having like actual defined, easy to see shit, is there's a few parts in this weirdly squared off shit that you can actually make out here, right? That where there's different detail, and this right here is one of them. You see this section here? It's just one line, one blur thing here, and then a second line. Now, now look here at this one. This is that blurred section, and this is the one line. Notice that there's several lines. There's several lines you can make out, whereas this is just one separate solid line of purple. There's at least 3 lines I can see there. And the same goes for this here. You see all the doop, 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 doop dots going down? Look at how much more blurry they are on this side here. See what I mean? You can barely see the dots. You can barely see the dots up here, whereas these you can still make them out. These, they, instead of being dots, they just turn into like a line of smudge. Where these, they're smudges, but they're individual smudges. And if you look here, down here, same thing. You see the lines of the thing here. And this, it's just kind of smudgy. But because I believe that the image was rendered out so poorly before it was received by both Twitch and YouTube this time, I think that the blurry version that was on YouTube ends up looking better, specifically because it's harder to make out the squared pixelated shit that's going on. Because everything is more defined in this picture. Because everything is always more defined in Twitch. It just looks better, right? Like, look at the shadow. See how defined the shadow is? You see there's bits of blur here, but it's mostly defined on that line. Where here, it's just, it fades in a weird way. And then, oh, that's an odd section. That's a pretty odd section right there. Let me move this around again. There we go. Yeah. See, they were sent the image poorly. They both did the exact same thing with this. Look at that. They both did this squared off shadow and then a hard line, and then they walked it up. See? There's no way they were like they had to have received the data like that. They're not processing that information in the exact same way. Like the swords are different, but not really. Neither of them look good. They both look like trash, and I think it was just because they were sent that. I think the stick here, no, the sheath for the sword, the smaller sword, by the way, that she's wearing, the katana. I think that sheath looks much better on Twitch. I mean on YouTube for the exact same reason. It's blurry. This is just very defined, and it's so blurry over here. It just looks better. And I'd say the same thing for her head. Because they just do a better job in general at rendering out the image that they're sent. You see the weird fucking pixelation that was going on with whatever. It was either my fault or it was Restream's fault. I don't know. And you see all that weird extra shit that's added. And then here you can see they start to try to add it. Like, see it right here? They start to try to add it, but ends up blending better. It blends better because everything's so much fucking more blurry on YouTube. So unfortunately, this wasn't a good this frame, this double framed thing from each of them is just not quite as useful this time around. Like, I wonder what why there's this weird exception to this rule. Because everywhere here you can see the squares much better here than you can. You can see how they start to do all the same squares, but this one just does a better job at rendering out those squares from the pixelation. But there's this weird section where the opposite happens. Where this one has this very defined thing going on. It still has all the little squares. When you zoom in, you can see that. But here, it's just got this weird thing. Oops. There we go. See it? See it? But then we move over to here. And this one does a much better job at blending it almost into a straight line. But it does still do it a little bit. But it tries to blend it. That's so weird, because then if you look down over here, you'll notice this one has these very defined line here, and then this one blended it. Like, this belt looks better than that belt because this one's blended. And then, like I said, these were like, that's one of these areas here are some of the better examples of how it normally ends up happening. Where this, you can count these out. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 individual things here. 7, 8 technically, actually. Where here you say 1, 2. There's a start of 1, and then there's 3, and then there's kind of maybe 4 that are combined into. So these 2 are combined into 1. So there's like 4. And then there's nothing down here but just like a blurry line all the way across. And there's nothing up here either. But over here, they're actually defined properly. Oops. And what that means for a moving picture when you're watching this frame by frame is that, yeah, and see that one there. And then that one there is smoother. So I think what I need to do in this image is just find areas where it didn't obviously screw up the thing. Like, see, here's the square here. And then on this one, you can see they start to have the same square, but because it's so much more blurry, it's harder to make out the fact that it's squared off, which makes it technically look a bit better. Oh, I definitely do not like motion blur. I turn it off when I can. This game, you can't turn it off. Oh, they look about the same to me. There's some subtle differences. We'll compare it though. I could just be wrong. I'm not seeing as many of those weird artifacting squares here, so I think this will be the better version to, like, I'm trying to find things that were in motion but did not for some reason have the weird artifacting that they both tried to render out. So oops. Why did I do that again? There we go. Alright. This time this is going to be on the left instead of the right, because it's easier to... There's no room on the right this time. The Twitch version will be on the left. Alright. Oh, actually, there is... This actually is very different from each other. Holy shit. Like, wow. It looks very different. Like, because this one, neither of these pictures have the weird squared off artifacting thing going on. And because of that, look at the fucking difference in quality of these two pictures. Holy shit. Like, oops, what the hell? What the hell happened there? First, compare this to that. This is a kind of a blurry mess. And this, if you notice, there's no squares here anymore. It's not doing the square thing. This is actually starting to add squares on its own. See it? It's doing it on its own. See it here? That's a line. This is just a boop, boop, then sort of a line. So what I'm thinking happened was when I sent it to Restream kind of fucked up the image. And some of this image, because they split the image perfectly and send it to both, right? They send the same signal to both. But I'm thinking what happened is it sent a... Like, certain parts of it had artifacting that came from Restream and or me. It could have been me on my side that my buffering stream software fucked it up. But this time, it's not my software. This time, it is definitely YouTube software doing this. This is YouTube software doing what my software did, but it's doing it to things that were not previously fucked up. Like, it's making things have the weird squared fucked up things. Like, it did that and that for some reason. Whereas here, it's just faded line, right? And then this is just a brown patch that has kind of a little shading in it. This, you can see the lines of the fur. This is just, that's the color of the fur. It's like almost one solid color with a slight bleeding of the color here into there. Almost barely make it out. Here you can see the clear loop that goes all the way to there, where this one it ends there. On this one, on the other one, it goes all the way to there. It goes all the way to there, see? And you see you have another line coming over here. Much more detail in all of that. The smooth, natural looking, well, when you zoom out, right? Like when you zoom out, see how it's smooth and natural looking? But when you zoom out, that still doesn't look as smooth. Like the ears specifically are this a good example of that. When I zoom out, this ear is going to start to look really nice still, but this ear has this weird shape right there coming off of it. See what I mean? This ear's looking natural-ish. I've zoomed in too much, but this one still has that weird shape. But normally that'll happen on a much larger scale with more stuff. Like this has that just solid brown, light brown bit there, whereas this has the subtle thing going on where it's much finer and it goes in and does its stuff. And same thing, we go here. You see the details, the shading and the fur and stuff going on, whereas this is just kind of a blurry mess of a thing. You can't really make out any detail anymore. It's just blurry. And then once again, it started to add squares. So you see the jaggies, the big giant square there, giant square there. None of that's here. It just does its thing. Now, one part where this gets it better, and I think, once again, it's because everything is blurry here. There's nothing that's not blurry. Where some parts of this are blurry and some parts are not, and this is one that's blurry. That is not blurry, and it's not blurry, and then you get this. They're really tight lines, right? They're not like, they're not the YouTube version where it goes really big, right? There's something going on here that's not there. But notice how it does it on a much finer scale. Because it's doing it on such a finer scale, I think what's happening is that this side is, this is one of the spots that they probably received both bad images of. Let me see if I can find a square that they both, yep, here we go. Look, see, it was received poorly in both. Look at this. Look at this. That square right there. See that? That is this right here. Now, let's undo and then make sure we level the height of the thing so we get them identical in the same spot. And so you can see that it's that square. Edit. Undo. Nope, undo. I don't want to take the image. There we go. Okay, so we need to have. Oh, I know what to do. I know what to do. I know what to do. So we move you there. And then we grab. Oh, paste into new layer. No, cut. No. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Put you into up here, and then cut, and then paste into a new layer. I did it again. New layer. There we go. Move it down, move it down, move it down, move it down. We'll make sure that it's exactly level. I think that's exactly level, and here's how you make sure it's exactly level. Is that when I move it to here without moving it down anymore, all I have to do is open you up and decrease the opacity. Okay, and then zoom in, and then grab you, and then line you two up perfectly, and then start to move you back where you were, but making sure I don't elevate it lower or higher. I went down 1 pixel, but then I went up 1 pixel again. Okay, I think that's far enough to the right. Let's see. Yes, that is far enough to the right to be able to make out both of those squares. So if they both put that square in the exact same place, then I know that the reason it's messing that area of the ear up is because it was sent a bad signal. Otherwise, they would not have done the same weird pixelation in the exact same way in both images. Let's see. I'm very analytical today. I'm enjoying like studying all this weird shit that I don't normally mess with. Okay, so ignore these little dots here. I think those were added. Here's the square. Yep, and there's the square. I think. I could be wrong. Line, please. 1 pixel wide, please. Damn it. Deselect, please. No. Let's confirm that they're still lined up the way I was doing it. Okay. Line, please. Wait, this has extra line. So the line is here, maybe? And yeah, I think that's perfect. Because there's extra stuff up here, there's extra information, so I can't really tell which one's right. Is there something else I can compare? Yes! These two things here. Okay. Eye level. Here, this stretches straight to... Yes. Okay. So they are perfect height. They are perfect height to each other. So now... Let me put the opacity back. And then we take this square here. And we start at the very top of the square. Oh, let's start at the side of the square. And then stretch it. So it would be right here at this corner. No, and it's not squaring that off. I mean, it kind of is, but it isn't. I wouldn't say it is for sure. Instead, what we're seeing here is like if I basically what I would have to do if I make a second line real quick so you can see where this line started. Like, let me stretch this line back down. And then add a second line. And I believe it would start here. One frame out, actually, 1 pixel. Sorry, 1 pixel further. I guess technically that works. Okay. Now let's get the line tool here. See what happens. You see, this is doing its... What is that? The squared off section here, rounded. I think that this here is it attempting to add more detail maybe and then just not doing a good job, or attempting to render the proper detail but not doing as good of a job. And I think this is it just not even attempting, it just blurs everything out. Like, as you can see, this is just a giant open grayed out brownish area, whereas this actually has, it tries, this is like a finer, thinner line on this side because that's originally what it was. See how it is here, and see how they both do that spot there relatively okay, with this one screwing it up more right here. But this one tried to keep that spot there fine, and it was just too difficult for it, and so it ended up having a bit of weird jackiness here that isn't here. Whereas this one just gave up on having the fine thing, and it's just like a big fucking giant blurry blob of a thing, where this tries to do it, right? A good example of that happening is also here, where it fades that in really nice, like one color to another color, where this just goes this color and then that color in a box, a big giant box. It just gave up on trying to render that. And that's one of the reasons why this is this way, right? Like they're really screwing up on the finer detail type of thing. So it's just like, oh, I give up. I'm not even gonna render these massive fucking sections, right? And then this tried to go that color to that color to that color, then to the generic color that they all have, where this just went this color to one slightly lighter color, and then to the fucking blurry mess. And I think that's why you get stuff like this, where when you zoom in, this kind of technically looks worse than that when zoomed in. And that's because there's detail here that it's trying to create that this one just didn't even bother trying to put in there. It just left it as nothing. But when you zoom out on those same things, which one looks better? I think this one that tried to render that detail looks better, because it actually looks like it has more detail. But when you zoom in, it actually doesn't look better. Where it messes up those lines, yeah, same way with this one actually. That weird jaggedy weird spot there. I guess knows what it's doing, because that spot looks better when zoomed out than that spot there, because I can't even really make that out almost at all. Hmm. Sometimes there's very little difference. Sometimes there's big difference. Alright, now I should be able to move it without cutting. Okay, good. Okay. I know this is a weird stream, but I'm actually enjoying myself. Here's an example of YouTube giving up and Twitch doing their best but not doing a great job, but them trying to actually make it a thing and not doing a great job makes it end up looking so much better than YouTube just giving up on it. So YouTube just blurs everything. They just hope that when they blur it all up, that it ends up looking better. So as you can see here, if we look at this doesn't look that good. It's very jaggy, and that's because it's a very fine thing for them to do, because it's not just a black line going a black circle. What it is it's a black circle that has lighting effects. So this has a little light to it so that it's rounded, and when you zoom out, it sort of still looks like that, but just a little bit jaggy-ish. Whereas this, zoomed out and zoomed in, just disappears. It's just like, yeah, okay, I give up. Oh wait, yeah, let's start that up again. So look, it's like, yay, look, you can kind of make out that it's a big pop filter. Whoop, oh, what? The pop filter doesn't exist anymore. Ah, there it is. Now, when you take into the when you lighten these things, because right now they're darker than they normally would be, when both these things are lighter, all those sorts of problems are a bit more, well, glaring, and on a large scale, it's quite something. It's like, man, I'm not enjoying this here. That's right, that's not the right one. What did I have to use to adjust this thingy? Make it perfect? Is it hue and saturation? Yes. Now we lighten them up. We saturate them maybe? And it's hard to get it to its natural color. The problem is, like I said, to prevent burn-in, which naturally darkens theirs when you pause it. And so I don't think I can get it just right like it was before the messing with it. So there's a little bit more saturation and a little bit more saturation maybe. And then a little less brightness, a little bit more brightness. Let's get out of that. Let's try the curves. Curves are pretty good to mess with sometimes. You can normally, let's move that up to that. That's probably the good. And over about here, maybe, because normally you can lighten it with curves and keep fine detail. Okay, so this is brightening it but losing detail, darkening it there. Ah, okay, here we go. Now that's where we're getting detail here. So what if I add an extra one? No? Reset. Try exactly the center and see what happens. I'm losing color is the problem. Yeah. I don't think that's a good way to do it because I lose color. What if I increase the brightness and contrast? Yeah, but then I lose color, right? But then after that, I guess I will go into saturation. If I get this to 0, and then I increase the saturation of this. That's almost correct. It's still off though. Let's deselect it. But yeah, there you go. Once you have it brighter so that it's closer to matching the colors that you would witness in the stream, where it's not so dark so it disguises shit, then you start to see, like on the Twitch side, all that shit I was pointing out looks really nice. And look at it on the YouTube. I'm looking on the YouTube side. See that? See that? Very, very big difference. Much more vibrant and natural looking. And if I do the whole image, actually. Okay. Everything is selected. Good deal. Then I adjust. We have to do a few different things, unfortunately. I think it's better to do the other thing before the saturation. Maybe it's better to do the saturation first. What if I saturate it first? To about, because that seems too saturated. So to about there, maybe? And then I go into the brightness and contrast. No, it just doesn't look natural. It's hard to get it back to that natural look after it's been altered with its darkness level. Okay. Like I was able to make one look the exact same as the other, in the reverse way, because it's easy just to turn it. It was just one knob to turn it to get it to get them identical. I had to figure out how they altered the image. But then to get it back, it is just, ugh. It's quite a thing. Hues are bad. They're fun to play with though. You do some weird stuff. I think the key is the brightness and contrast. You get it to about like maybe what you think you guess at first, which would be about like right there, and then it doesn't look quite right because there's just too, it's not saturated enough because of the adjustment of that. Then you go with the saturation, which it's still not quite right. Maybe another one. Oh, hey, that's almost correct. That's almost the right lighting of the game and everything at that point in the original screenshots. Look at that. Now, when we grab things and we put them side by side, you see a much bigger difference here with the good lighting. There we go. Even her, which I initially liked the Twitch version of this better. Oops. I initially liked the YouTube version of this better because it just looked too jaggy, and the blurry version of it was just better. Look at that. I think they know what they're doing with the jagginess every now and then. I think, I don't know. They both had the exact same boxes in all the exact same places. So like I said, it was receiving the data worse. I mean, they were both receiving bad data for this part of this image. But I guess because this blurred it all up, it ended up looking better to me when I zoomed in because it was just blurry, and I was like, oh, I can't make out as many of the weird jaggy things. But the things that weren't fucked up by the signal look better here. And because of that, it's just a better looking image when you zoom out and you don't see the jaggies as much. Because then you got stuff like this where in her hair, you can see details in her hair here, where here it's just kind of a little bit of a line with a little bump here and there. Here it almost looks like you can make out her face, even though it's just like weird jaggies, where here it's just a color. And then you see the grass much more defined and stuff. See? A lot more blurry sections where this has more definition everywhere. Same thing, way more definition here than here. Same thing. Oops. Same thing here. Way more. That's just blurry. That actually is blurry with detail though, a bit more detail. You see lines going across over and over and over again. Tons of little lines. Here you just kind of see that line. Maybe I can kind of make out a line there and one there. With this, I see lots of lines. Yeah, even here, where this is like the worst example. This is the worst example of it because they received shitty image. I'd rather take the more accurate shitty image. Like it still gave a more accurate version of what it was. Huh. That's so weird. When I zoomed out, it made all the difference there on that, on the one where I would have given that to the Twitch. I mean to the YouTube. So weird. Yeah, they both did a bad job here on this one, if you ask me, though. They both did a fairly bad job. And I think, like I said, because she was screwed up identically in so many different ways, where it's just this was blurrier versions of the same screw ups, I think that I gave a bad image. Like they didn't receive the it wasn't a clean signal, right? But just because it's not a clean signal doesn't mean 100% of the image is fucked up. Oops. I really don't need that much of the barrel. I don't know why I would circle it that much. I do want kind of the top bit of the grass maybe a bit more. There we go. But other things that look kind of clean on both of them, when we zoom in on them, well, not even zoom in, you don't have to zoom in. Like, both of them look like they did an okay job with the barrel here. And the same with this. We already compared that barrel. And just like with the cat, they both did an okay job with it. But one of these barrels looks significantly better than the others. Than the other, I mean. See what I mean? And then when I start to zoom in, you'll see even more. How this, there's a bit more jaggies here, but it's jaggies because it realized there was definition there. This, it's just, no, it's like there's no that this amount of pixels is not enough pixels for the game to go, there's actually a difference and this should be uniquely separated. Where this is like, oh, we can tell there's a difference and we're gonna try to make a line for it, even though that's very thin. And so because of that, like happening here and here, and also vertically more often, where these are less, there's less differences in the colors. Like this is almost all the same exact color all there, right? Where this has like a little blotch there that's almost all the same, but then it corrects it all here. And so what you end up when you zoom out is that's about the normal size, not increased or decreased. You'll end up with a barrel that you can tell there's loops, and there's like a middle line in that loop. And up close, that middle line looks weird and jaggy, but at the 100% view, you see that line looks normal. That looks like it's kind of fucked up. You see all these shades in the barrel, like there's way more detail, where that's just kind of blotchy. And normally I notice a much bigger difference than what we're looking at here, by the way. From when I watch streams, like I said, I don't think this is a good screenshot because it is it received a bad signal. So they're both working with fucked up data. This one's taking the fucked up data and trying to make it re-render out the fucked up data more accurately than this is rendering up the fucked up data. So when there's a section that's fucked up, like this section here, these two weird lines that are here for some weird reason, that's probably, I don't think that's in the game. I think those two weird lines that don't connect to any other lines, is it fucking up the data somehow? But then we come over here and you see the same two lines. And then we can compare a few other things to the grass. Here you see a defined attempt at a defined blade of grass here, as it shoots up. But here, it's just like, it's made a big giant square here and blotched out the square here and there. Where this is like, ah, that's maybe a blade of grass in that shape. They both screw up right here. See this? This one is a little lower on the screw up though. So there's more of a defined line before it finally screws up, where this one goes a much shorter distance and then is like, nah, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Okay, I can figure it out again. I've come back to another TED Talk. Yeah, yeah, I'm basically done for the day. I've just been making weird comparisons to this thing. We've analyzed so much stuff. I just got super analytical today. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I know you guys probably don't enjoy this stuff as much, but I do. Sometimes not every stream is about whatever video game we're playing. Let's take something that was still. Let's take a still image and see how good of a job they both did on something that was probably not moving the whole time. And I imagine like this section here. Or let's take something even bolder like that. Oh. Everything is just more jagged stuff is added to it. Like here. Let me get a better section where I can see there's more jagged so you can see what I mean. Where was I looking? Ooh. That's crazy. Oh man, it's blocking it, unfortunately. Oh. Alright. I wish I could see both at the same time, but while staying zoomed in. Aha! The example of YouTube taking odd liberties to just blur things out because they just give up on a section of the video. They're like, I just give up on that. I'm not going to try to render that spot out. It's close enough. They won't notice. But it is noticeable. It's actually, it's like, I don't know, man. I notice, especially when they both get a clean image. When they both get a clean image. Look at how they do their letters and numbers here. Other than, of course, the fact that the 52 here doesn't exist. And for some reason, maybe it starts it up again right here. I don't know. But look at the weird bleeding that happens because it's trying to blur everything out. See here? What the fuck is that? There's all this weird bleeding in all the letters. And then that bleeds in over to there, which just destroys the 52 entirely. You can't even see what the fuck it is anymore. And ta-da. Trying to see. Ah, wait, there's an extra little dot there. Trying to find something bad on this one. Nope, the extra weird little dots on both of them. Both doing it. They both had the weird artifacting around the G. You can tell where they both just received bad data, because where the signal was just badly sent. I mean, because what you'll find is they both have the exact same errors in the exact same way on the exact spot on the screen. Yep. Because I was looking at this one, I just looked at this, I was like, ah, that arrow looks kind of janky. And if it looks janky on Twitch's side, then on YouTube's side, it's going to be janky too. There's just no way it's not. So look how that's janky. And then sure enough, good arrow, kind of a less of a good arrow, and then this weird, the arrow starts to fade in a weird way and get janky looking. Where this one looks janky, more pixely jankily, because they're still trying their best to figure it out. This one doesn't. And the same thing. So the arrows, definitely something went wrong with the arrows. The same thing with this. See how this arrow has a little small section here that's cut? But this one has a much larger section that's cut, and it kind of fades into the brown, and the brown fades into the arrow. Yeah, for some reason, the stream software screwed up the arrows, I think. But they're both receiving the same signal. So if you when we send them bad data like that, they both have to figure out what the fuck's going on with the bad data. But if this one has a 52 in it, that means he received the 52 too. But they were like, man, let's move part of the 52 over there and blur it up. Like, what the fuck? What you talk about, Willis? Yeah, I think I'm done for the day. It's pretty fun. I mean, for me. Sorry, I know. Not that exciting, guys. Not that exciting for you guys. The blurry furball is right. He's right here. See? This one has a pop filter. You can see the light reflecting off the pop filter, making a full circle. This one has a pop filter too that kind of just starts to fade away, and then it comes back right here, and then we got man, it blends that cat fur in with the ground. Like, it stops figuring out. It's like, wait, is this cat fur or is this ground? And it just kind of like, look, it just kind of blends it in. Same thing almost. And then it gets back to its like good defined stuff. And then this one does it the same thing, but like more jaggly, and it kind of sharply goes in. You see what I mean? Just like, and it's like, is that ground? Like the ground starting to bleed into the cat. The cat's starting to bleed into the ground. For this one, the cat's starting to bleed into the ground, but the ground just doesn't really bleed into the cat that much on this part. I know the big thing with the cats though is this still, like the more defined details, like the pattern on the head, how this one actually has a pattern and this one has sort of a smudge. Like it has this bit here, but this is just a smudge. This has a pattern. And at 100%, that's when you notice the difference quite a bit. I think I know where YouTube does its best and it does its worst. YouTube seems to be okay with bold differences. Because if there's a bold difference, they'll blur it, and then it almost makes it look better rather than worse. This is them receiving the same signal of a weird square-ish type of thing. But you'll see the squares, if the square's still here on YouTube, it's just less defined because everything is less defined. Where this one's more defined because, like I said, they both probably received, like I say a lot, these is one of the sections they probably both received a bad signal because they're doing it perfectly in the exact same way. They're adding the exact same wrong thing to it, right? And I think that's because Twitch always tries to make the finer details be more fine and detailed, like this barrel, seeing all the little lines in it, and the black line there and that hoop being really much more defined, and seeing the barrel like that, whereas this is like, I don't even see a black line there anymore, and I don't really see the lines here that well at all. But if it's a defined line, I think YouTube doesn't have much trouble with it. But the moment there's something that matches, right? There's color in the area that kind of resembles other colors around the area. That's when YouTube really fucks up because they'll blur it all up, right? Because see this here? We can't tell that this is a 52 right now, technically. I mean, you can still see it, but you know, it's because you already knew, right? We look at it like this. This is kind of just a blurry mess. What the hell is that? It's a blurry mess, right? Because we're that zoomed in. This is the Twitch side, right? And so you have this light spot right here. And because of this light spot having pixels that are the same color-ish as some of the pixels in the 52. And then the thing about the 52 is that it has a single line down here for the bottom of the 2. And a little line that goes here. As you can see, even Twitch struggled with that for the 5, right? To do the 5. Because it's a single line and YouTube struggles so much with that kind of stuff, what it does is it kind of just fades this shit out. And then it merges this color here with these colors here. And it makes it all one blob of a color here. And so then what you end up with is 52. When at 100%, let's get back to, yeah, there we go, 100%. You end up with, let's go a little bit more that way. There we go. What you end up with here is a 52 here, and then here it just erased it. I thought it was moving it over here, but that's not even the same thing. That's just another different separate problem. It took those fine lines and it just said, no, they don't seem distinct enough for us to be able to render them out individually. So it erased it and moved this blur higher, and then made all the subtly different colors here one kind of blurry type of thing. But it did, like the colors here were so much more different than the browns. They went into yellows, the yellow spectrum more than the brown spectrum. Because that happened to enough, what ended up happening was it said, no, that shit's unique. And it made this its own little spot. But up here, if you notice, this bit up here, you notice right here is where it starts to have yellowish, greenish type of colors thrown in there. But below there, if I cut all that off so you don't use you don't like bleed that into there with your mind. You just say, hey, what color is this stuff up here? So if we then zoom in, we scroll down to where that stuff is barely just cut off, and you're only seeing the bottom half of the numbers that they cut off, you'll notice, other than that one little bit there, obviously, because I can't get it to go perfectly, but you'll notice the next row of pixels, there's no yellow. There's no yellow, there's no green, there's no little super subtle purples. It's just browns. It's different shades of browns. But then once we go 1 pixel higher, we get some purples, some yellows, and some greens mixed in there. And because of that, when we zoom out, you can actually see a full 52 completely. But because all that shit down there was brown, and all the shit on the bottom half of the 52 was brown, it said, just make it all brown. And only when it started to become those subtler purples and greens and blues did it green, purples, and yellows, did it actually finally go, oh, okay, there's a difference. And now it starts with the yellows and greenish stuff. It never even adds the purple stuff. But up here, it's done in a way that makes it doesn't look weird. It looks like a 52. Jesus. This barrel looks like shit on both of them, but it looks much more tolerable shit on this one. Like I can't even tell it's a barrel almost. Look, it almost looks squared. You see how the lighting works there? Like right here, it kind of almost squares it. Well, that's actually too long of a line. You'll see what I'm saying here. See here where it goes like this, and then like that, and then up like that. Now watch me delete the line so you can see what I'm talking about. See it? Like it squares it off. Like the... Oh, I went in the wrong direction again. Here we go. Like that, and then like that. See? It looks like it's squared. And then if you notice, the barrel's straight here. It's not round, it's straight. See? It's just straight across from here to there, because it's blended this grass in with the barrel that was here, and then it flattened that out because of that, and it made this line from here to here, and then it made sort of a line from here to here to here to here, and then up in that angle. So you have this weird squared off bottom to the barrel, and then it kind of rounds up there. Very odd. Whereas this one still rounds out into a barrel and still has a bit of a slope type of barrel shape. See how it's like rounding it? And we can even see a little bit of a black line there and there. And so and then, you know, lots of little lines that are kind of blurry. And this, that was a line in the other one, is more of like a, just a shadowing, lighting effect, like that. See it? How it moves back and forth? It's an actual round bottom that bulges out. A squared off bottom that's round here and has a sharp angle at that, like that. And then another sharp angle up here. So they both fucked up the barrel. Like the barrel was, this is another example of them receiving a bad image. But Jesus Christ, this one did so much better. I mean, this one did so much worse. It turned it into a different shape, dude. It's just straight up a different shape. But the things it's gonna do best with, like I can start to figure it out without like trying to compare. Like I think that YouTube, this is a pretty defined thing right here, right? So I think both, and they're not fine detailed defined. They're just mostly solid color. And yeah, see? It's just mostly solid color. Against a dark background, and they're light, and there's not a lot of fine shadowing. There's just a little bit of shadowing, and you'll see YouTube doesn't do that bad of a job. For some weird reason, it moved this line of pixels one over. I don't know what the fuck that's about. That's kind of a weird thing to do. But other than that, it's just this one has slightly more detail than that one, but it's almost impossible to really make out the differences in the amount of detail. Like this has a slightly brighter area and a slightly brighter area. This has a slightly brighter area and a slightly brighter area. This has a little bit of a thing here, and then yeah, there we go. This has a little bit of the same thing right there. I think that's one spot. These here and here, I think, is just artifacting that they both received. But you see the contrasted stuff, they both do that. I mean, like YouTube, that's one thing YouTube doesn't seem to struggle with. It does fine. As long as it's something that's well defined and bold. It has to be well defined, bold, and the colors need to be different. Like they need to be defined, different colors that are that are thick. When I say bold, I mean thick. I'm sorry, because anytime you try to go minor lines, like thinner, smaller details, it just deletes that. It doesn't. It blends all those colors together, so you get the 52 and no 52. Whereas all the white text is so much more defined in the background. None of this is gone. They both do the white text fine. There's no missing white text. And I don't see anything that like blends in. What I mean by blends in is like, say, text that matches the back. Like if this combo text was, say, there instead of where it is, where that bluish greenish color kind of subtly almost matches that one, but like slightly darker versus lighter. If that was there to there, some of these letters would start to disappear and blend into there, where this one just, you know, but because it's not there, it's blending in fine. As long as you throw a little black and stuff like that in between it, it's much better at it, especially the thicker it is. If it's like a little bit of black, it's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. You got to put several lines of it, like at least 2 or 3 thick. Yep. There you go. I think this is the best example of what I just, well, there's lots of examples. Like the best example is probably the number just straight up disappearing on the other one, right? I think this barrel here is another good example of what I've been talking about. This will be the last one. I'm actually kind of tired. Next time I play, I want to play a game instead of talking about this kind of stuff, because I know that's what you guys want. But every now and then it's I think it's interesting to do something odd. So if we take a look at the barrels, they both did a pretty good job. And that's why I say this is a great example of YouTube being able to handle the bolder things that aren't that different. There's not a lot of difference in there. I mean, there's that are different. These colors are so different than the ones around them that they don't really blend in that well. And so you see these barrels look pretty good. Now, one thing that you'll notice though is that this barrel still looks better. And that's because what this YouTube struggles to do is to have single pixel lines of darker colors that contrast against other ones. They tend to start deleting that kind of stuff. Whereas the other ones don't mess with that data as much. They try to interpret it the way, they try to put it the way it is. So as you can see with this one, you see how this one has a black line here? That's not that thick. This one, that's right there. The limitation of YouTube. Like that's the limit right there. However many pixels wide this is, like 3 pixels, if something is less than 3 pixels wide, then they super struggle with it and they start to fucking blur it all out. And there's obviously hundreds of things throughout a game's gameplay that are less than 3 pixels wide. Thousands of things in every single image. So if you notice, through most of this, it's about 3 pixels or so, but every now and then here and there it shrinks to only a couple of pixels, and then so it blurs it a bit more, but it still knows to keep that general connection. And so when you come up close it looks kind of weird, but when you zoom out you'll see it actually figures out to keep that solid black line the whole time, where this one fucks it up here for a big section. It was just too many pixels in a row without there being enough thickness. And you see they start to drop the ball again here, where it starts to blend in around here. But this one here, oh, actually that's part of the image there. That bit there is just part of the image. And then here you go, once again, this is gonna be about 2 pixels wide, I think. Because you see here, there's the line. There was probably only 1 pixel wide here, and so probably even Twitch struggled with that single pixel line. But notice that this one, this color of this barrel is basically just there, and there's just almost barely a line there on that side. where this one has slightly more defined line, but it's still mostly missing on this side. I should get this pencil so I can point with the tip, like this here versus that one there. And then you'll notice right here though, it defines up again. It gets darker. Where here, it starts to get a little lighter, but it's only about as light as like that part, or darker, but it's only about as dark as that broken part there. See what I mean? It just is almost the same color. Very little difference here. Whereas this one, you notice almost the same color, but the difference, instead of it being in like one little spot, which is right here, and then all that's identical to the stuff on there, all that's identical, like this pixel here, this pixel color is the exact same all the way across, and the exact same all the way across, and so what you're seeing is this broken spots, and then there's like this almost like a big smudge all the way over there, but this is where you actually finally start to see it here. But notice that this bit here bleeds into that, and it's the exact same colors as that, right? So you kind of almost get a line, but it's way harder to make out than this one, where you still only kind of get a line. But notice that there's no, these colors, this pixels are the same color as those pixels, but then over one it gets a bit darker, over one it gets a little bit darker, over one it gets a little bit darker, then it gets a bit lighter, and then these two share the exact same color, and then it gets lighter again. And it's like that all the way across. Like this is darker than that, this is darker than that, this is darker than that, this is darker than that. Like it actually has that. And because you combine that with this much darker line here that it was able to interpret properly, where that one fades away and you can't see it as much, you end up with a glance, your mind will tell you that that is more defined than that. And that's just that part of the barrel hoop. The whole barrel hoop is like that, right? If you look over here, it's just kind of brownish, where over here you start to see the line. It's darker here and then brownish, where here it's just brown. There's no darker line here and then it gets brown. Where over here there's this shadow of a darker line, even tried really hard to do it there, and then it gets brown. And over here it managed to make a single pixel line of darkness here and there, which is really hard to do with these render things, right? So it pulled that shit off. Whereas here it got one straight bit of it here, and then one straight bit there, and then nowhere else did it do it. But like look, like it did it here, 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 and then it's just different colored like that. See, only one here and one there, and they're so much lighter than the ones here. These contrast that color so much more, where on YouTube it blended them together much more. There's less contrast between those two things, so you get something that looks like a bolder line across the whole thing, and that doesn't have it. So when you zoom out to this, the effect that's created is that you see all these much bolder looking lines and details on the barrel. Like, see, that looks like the light is hitting that part and reflecting up, where this is just kind of blurred. And so the barrel, the vast majority of the barrel is done really good by YouTube on this one when you're comparing it to that one. But I think that's why these are two good ones to compare, because these colors contrast each other pretty good most of the time, because this is much darker. But the few spaces where they don't contrast each other, or where they want to have a really small defined line, the lines are always more connected on Twitch and more defined on Twitch, because YouTube cannot do fine detail very well. It's very, very bad at fine detail. And that's why you end up with something like that. So, I think what I'm going to do tomorrow, because I got tired of waiting for people, and then finally, Bouncer did show up, but then I was waiting for more people, and then I got distracted, and then I got focused on like what I was looking at, because I was making really interesting discoveries, like way more interesting than what I'm talking about here. This is just something I've known for a long time, and like I've talked about it here and there. Way more interesting than this, though. Way more interesting than this is the stuff that we discovered today about a few mechanics involving the shielded weapons. No, not yet for the original Final Fantasy VII. I'm not gonna play that right away, Gamer Boy. Sorry. It's the stuff that we discovered about the original. No, I mean the stuff that we discovered related to the shields, and how unfortunately the sword and shield has been shafted. I think the biggest of all the discoveries was figuring out that there's an attack with one of the sword and shield's attacks that's impossible to land. Like, it's a hitbox, it's an active hitbox, but you can't land it unless you bypass the enemy and attack them facing the wrong direction while behind them. It's such a precise attack that I can't imagine you would be able to land it on anything other than like a sleeping enemy or something. Because well, consistently. Because if you saw the very small differences in my positioning, meaning I would whiff it or I would hit it, like very small differences. Because it's so hard to make it so that you hit the shield bash pit and the two sword attacks at the same time. And it was very small differences in my positioning would change that. So imagine you're fighting something that's moving. Yeah, dude. Exactly. I almost want to make a video on that. Just bringing up the fact is like, hey, did you know that there's an additional shield bash in the sword's forward slash attack? Did you know about that? Check it out. Here's when the active hitbox is there. Yes, that's right. You're never in position to land that attack unless you attack from behind the monster facing away from it. What the fuck? And it's not like a bitch hit too. That's the thing. You're losing out on over 100 damage. It's one of the big hits. Like the small sword and shield hits with the way I didn't have a sword and shield build there, obviously. But with the build that I had, that was like a different build for a different weapon, and I broke it up because I was putting guard and all that other shit in there. and I didn't mess around with that weapon at all. I don't even know if it's a fully upgraded weapon. I just know that the difference between the big hits and the small hits for that sword and shield was it was either in the 50s or above 100 damage. Like closer to like 120-ish damage. The shield bash was one of the 120-ish damage hits. So when you draw back for that forward attack, you're supposed to get the shield bash that does about 100 and something damage. Then you get the downward strike that does 100 and something damage, and then the upward strike that does 100 and something damage, and then you're supposed to come down on the enemy and hit them. That makes way more damage. I mean, that makes way more of a difference. Imagine if that was the only thing you did with your character. There are builds like that for the sword and shield, by the way, where all you do is do that that guard slash thingy or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know, where you jump back and then come forward. There's builds that focus on that, and they're builds that are focused on not using critical damage. And I mean, not critical damage, but not getting critical element, because a lot of sword and shield builds use critical element or something like that, because you're trying to get elemental damage and stuff to trigger. But actually, you can get some pretty big damage numbers that are significant enough to almost compete with the combo where you're standing in place. But the difference is with the other one, when you're jumping back like that, is that you're also getting KO damage frequently. When you come down on them, or you're trying to constantly apply mounts, and because you're withdrawing from the monster most of the time and only attacking, and then come in only when you're ready for your attack, and then you fly up in the air. It's a bit safer type of thing, right? Oh, that sucks, gamer boy. And so there are builds and people who will use that attack. I guess what none of those people probably know is that they're losing out on, let's see, a fourth or so of the damage of their combo, because you get that a hit, then you get two other hits that are of equal strength to that hit. It's a little bit more than a fourth, by the way. And then you get a final hit when you're coming down that does one of the small hits. The coming down hit, unless you use your shield. The mount one, though, the coming down hit, that's one of like the 50 damage hits. So that's like one of the small hits, dude. So the big hits are the shield bash and the two swipes. And the shield bash is just removed from that equation, because it's not spaced correctly. It was the animation's broken. It doesn't work right. And I think that's because, you know, from the evidence we saw, the way we compared the animations, showing that she's moving in these ways that only would make sense if she was trying to block something at that point. Yeah, I know my stream restarted. But I believe that it was just those were reused animations, repurposed animations from when they originally planned on her having something that other shield weapons have, which is something called guard reactions. The other shield weapons have guard reactions. I wonder if like the heavy bowgun has a guard reaction too. That's the only one I could, because a heavy bowgun technically isn't a shield weapon, but you can equip a mod on the heavy bowgun that makes it act like a shield. I wonder if there's a guard reaction on the heavy bowgun. That would be interesting to check out sometime. But I'm too tired to do it now. But the other weapons that have shields. Oh wait. We also need to check out gun lance. That's the only other one. So the gun lance and the bowgun, the heavy bowgun. Because the gun lance is actually truly the only other shield weapon. I don't really count the gun lance, but I mean, not the gun lance. I don't count the bow gun itself really. But I do count the gun lance. The gun lance is 100% obviously a shield weapon, because you got the gun lance, you got the sword and shield, the lance, and the charge blade. Those 4 weapons are the shield weapons in the game. The gun lance and the lance have a heavy shield. The sword and shield has a light shield, and the charge blade has a medium shield. And the funny thing we found out about medium shields is that medium shields are actually not in the middle. I mean, technically they exist within the middle, right? But that's like saying the number 2 is in between 1 and 10. Technically it's in the middle of 1 and 10, but it's not exactly in the middle, right? It just exists within the middle. If I had to give, if I was forced to assign the shield value of this, like the sword and shield a 1, and then forced to assign a 10 to the lance's shield and their ability to deflect damage, absorb hits without being staggered when using while using guard up, and while using guard decorations, and even without guard decorations and various numbers of guard decorations, I would assign the charge blade shield isn't a 5. The charge blade shield is like a 3 or a 2.5. It's only slightly better. It's only slightly better than a fucking sword and shield. Like, for instance, at 4 levels of guard, a charge blade shield, when hit with a small bomb in the training area, that charge blade shield, when hit with that with 4 levels of it, will get sent flying back, and you'll flail off the same way as you do with the sword and shield. And it's the same, the sword and shield, when you have 4 levels of guard, you get sent flying back. Like, you fling your arm up, and you still technically block it, but you fling your arm up and you fly back a little bit, and you do that stumble and all that bullshit. And both of them do it. It's just the charge blade goes back a little bit less. They both need 5 levels of it. They need a 5th guard decoration. They need full guard decorations, the greater reduction, and only when they have the greater reduction do they both actually just stagger a little bit. However, one single guard decoration on a lance shield makes it so you almost stagger at none. You, with one single guard decoration, you stagger less than the medium bowgun. Than the medium one at its full. With one guard decoration, the medium shield, the charge shield, at 5 guard decorations, staggers more than a heavy shield from the lance at just 1 decoration. So there's a massive difference. Like I said, I'd put it at like a 2.5 or so. Because like I said, you need 1 guard decoration on a lance, and you stagger less than 5 guard decorations on a fucking charge blade. That's crazy. Especially seeing as that, okay, so if that's if the difference between the lance and the charge blade are that big, then the difference between the charge blade and the sword and shield should be of equal size, right? No. they both stagger quite a bit at 4 levels of charge, and you have to, on the sword and shield and the charge blade, you have to have all 5 decorations in there and give it the greater instead of the very high reduction. It's like the greater reduction or whatever. And only then do they both only get pushed back a little bit. But at 4 levels, they both get pushed back and stagger back and flail about. But it's just, it happens a little bit less distance for the charge blade than it does the sword and shield. But then at 5, they both just stand there and take it and flinch slightly. Yeah. It's so weird, dude. Like, I don't think the shields are balanced right. They either need to they need to buff the charge blade shield. I know the charge blade's already a really good weapon, but it doesn't fucking make sense that that shield's so big and it's considered a medium-sized shield when it's a massive fucking shield. It's huge. It's much bigger than like most people's what people would use in real life. That's just a fucking massive shield. I mean, it's not quite as big as the Lance's shield, but the Lance's shield's not really that much bigger than the Charge Blade shield. Like, the visually, if I had to assign what they visually look like they could protect, and I had to assign a 10 to the Lance and a 1 to the Sword and Shield, I would give like the Charge Blade shield like a freaking 7 or something. It's much bigger to the point where it's much closer to the Great Sword shield. I mean, to the Lance's shield than it is the Sword and Blade shield, the Sword and Shield shield. But the actual effects of the shield, what, like the stagger effects and all that other shit, dude, it's not even a fucking close comparison. No, it is not worth it. And that makes me realize that it's probably the exact same way with the second level of bowgun shields. So if you're gonna put a shield on your bowgun, just put 1 level on it or all 3. Don't ever go for 2. The second one is such an insignificant difference between the first one that it's just not worth it. And that's if, and I think they do, they simulate that those 3 shields. I'm pretty sure they do. I think a medium shield, I think the second level of shield on a heavy bowgun is supposed to be the exact same shield's quality as a charge blade shield, and the first one is supposed to be the exact same quality of a sword and shield. Oh my god, you know what I need to compare? I need to compare a gun lance's, I mean a great sword shield, which is just blocking with the great sword, to the sword and shield. I wonder if there's more of a difference between those two than there is between the charge blade shields. I think there might be, because I remember putting guard 5 on a great sword for an experimental build thing, and I remember not being impressed. Whereas guard 5 on the small shield actually was pretty effective when we were testing that today. I haven't seen any responses to a block from a gun lance. Have you tested it yourself, or is it just saying you just haven't noticed it? Because like there's so many different things that you have to test. There's lots of different things, like because there's so many different button combinations. Because there's also like holding down buttons. It's not just block then hit circle, block then hit triangle. block then hit triangle and circle, or block and hit X. There's also block then hit L2, block and then continue to hold block while hitting circle, continue to hold block while hitting triangle, continue to hold block while hitting triangle and circle, continue to hold block while hitting X, continue to block while hitting L2, continue to block. You know, like there's so many different combinations. So and keep in mind, you have to not have guard. The problem with the big shields is that you can't use a guard reaction if you have guard. We had to take all guard off. With one level of guard on the sword and on the lance, with one level of guard on the lance, we were not capable of performing a guard reaction. But when we took off all of guard, then the bomb knocked us back far enough so that we could perform the guard reaction that the tutorial was alluding to, where I was like, what the fuck is a guard reaction, and how do you use it to go into the power guard stance? What the fuck? And yes, you use the gun lance quite a bit, Frank, but do you ever use the gun lance without guard? You have to take all guard off. You can't have a single point of guard or you don't get enough knockback. Oh, you can get 4 shield mods on the bowgun? Oh, I guess so. The first shield mod must be like the great sword then. Yeah, see, you can test it out yourself with the lance. You can't go into the power guard with even a single, like if you hit that bomb and block it, you cannot go into the power guard with even a single point of guard. You have to remove all guard from your shield, and only then can a bomb knock you back far enough while guarding that it allows for a guard reaction. Alright, fine. We're not in the stream then. I don't believe you, Frank. I did when I did an evading gun lance. You tried every single possible button combination while guarding and not having any guard a long ass time ago because you knew we were going to do this test while trying to use some niche evading gun lance thing. I don't think I believe you, Frank. Thing is that you didn't even know the lance could do it, and this is the weapon that you always use at all times, and you didn't even know that the lance could do this thing that we figured out today. I just, nah. I'm gonna think that there's some buttons that you might have missed there. I'm gonna think there's some possible button combinations you didn't try. Alright, let's see if that's enough. There we go. We can go into a power guard. Then with 1 point in it, we're not allowed to go into a power guard anymore. Yeah, I'm not putting it all back on. It's fine. We've already tested it. We've already demonstrated it in video. It's good enough. Well, the first thing to do is to just see if it mentions the fact that there's it mentions guard reactions in the hunter's notes. It only mentioned it in one spot in the lance. Okay. 3 types of shelling attacks. Normal, blah, 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 blah. So, I need to pay attention to this kind of stuff. Because this kind of stuff, any of this stuff, because what guard reaction is a shortcut. They're just shortcuts into later stage things that require extra buttons to press. So I already have some pretty good candidates right now that I'm thinking about. That's why I need to read all this. Even when it doesn't mention the guard point. Okay. I mean the guard reaction. Alright, no things mentioned about guard reactions. So now it's to understand what happens when we do what buttons. So that's what happens when we hit circle. Reload. Oh, and if we try to do this, okay, it goes straight into that. That's how that reload goes. Whereas if we reload like this, okay, there's 2 different types of reloads, right? There's this reload. See, this is how complicated this is. This is how much testing it is. There's that reload. And then there's this reload. Same exact thing, but different, obviously. Because there's a different result from those reloads. So, I have to test which of those 2 animations it uses. Because if it uses the second one, then there is a guard reaction. Oh wait, I gotta actually attack with it. There we go. Okay. Now there was a massive delay. I actually need to test something. I feel like I'm being pushed back more than I am with the lance. Does the lance have a better guard than the free? I thought these things had the exact same guard, but the lance had more guard options. Does the lance actually have a better guard? Because you can't have too much knockback. But you can't have too little knockback. Yeah, the lance is the same. 1 point just completely negates any knockback. Yeah. Let's go ahead and see if it does have an effect though on that. Oh. Okay, we got the exact same animation for the reload. Now I know that the reload that isn't affected. I had to do all that testing just to see if the reload's affected. You see what I mean? And that's just, I'm finished with the combination of holding R2 and pressing circle. It took that much fucking work just to test the circle button and while holding R2. I haven't even tested the circle button while not holding R2. Okay, other thing I need to try. Wait, is there a decoration in this? Because I'm actually curious about this. I felt like I got knocked back further. I could just be imagining things. No, that was quite a bit. Like, let's use that as a thing, right? So we'll move up to this, right? And then we'll move. We'll walk to about halfway. And then we'll give it a good. Then we'll give it a poke. Then we'll block from here. Okay. If they're almost identical, then I'll just say they're identical. Because I won't be able to replicate the exact spot I was standing on unless I take a picture and shit like that. Alright. And of course, one weapon might go forward a little bit more when I'm attacking. Let's see, which I think might be this one. Nope, that's actually almost the exact same attack. And I got pushed in the wrong direction, but that looked about the same as to me. Oh, I feel like I got pushed back further even though I was about halfway and did the same forward attack. It could, like I said, I'd still say they're the same and I could just be not standing in the right spot. Oh, damn it, I hit the wrong thing. Alright, so let's go ahead and do some more tests here. Next, what are we gonna do? So if I block and hit this button, this is what's supposed to happen. It's a guard thrust. If I hit this button, that's what's supposed to happen. So let's do both those things after guarding. Let go of guard first. Nothing. It just makes a full reset and then it does the point thingy. Oh wait, I didn't actually try to press the button. I was pressing something else. And then I was like, oh wait, that's the wrong thing. Okay, nothing. Alright. So that is neutral triangle while guarding and neutral triangle while not guarding. But if I hold a direction, a different animation happens. Same thing with the lance though. So just when you hold a direction and you press triangle. Oops. Identical. Okay. Then there's this number. Now I think that this number is interesting because that's two separate things. Especially this. What I'm doing here, two very different actions. There's a combo that leads this combination here doing a very interesting thing. And I'm thinking that is one of the ones that have a really good candidate of having a guard reaction if there are any guard reactions. Nope, it didn't seem to do anything. Okay, yep, I don't think it does anything. And then okay. Next one. It tried to shoot it. Good. Okay. Alright. Now what else are we gonna do? There's the L2 feature. Hey, Leonardo Villiger, thanks for following. Alright, let's try just L2. Nothing. Nothing. That's that. That's the sheathing animation. Okay. We have those buttons. Wait a second. There's a guard reaction, Frank. I found one. Lance has a guard reaction. You figure it out? Did you notice what the gun Lance's guard reaction is? There's at least one. I shall show you. Oops. I shall show you. It has a unique thing that only happens in... Normally... That's it right there. Normally that is something that you can only do in the middle of a combo. In the middle of a combo, you're allowed to make minor changes to your character's positioning that are exactly horizontal. This command is what happens when I don't do it in the middle of a combo. Instead of jumping back, I do that. I do that. I turn. Doing 2 jumps will do it, by the way, because you can do it with 2 jumps. So jump, jump. But 1 jump, it just doesn't do it. So if you do this, it changes it though. If you get hit by a block, it changes it so that your very first jump will cause you to do the normal, the mid combo, mid action basically. The mid action jumps are affected by it. So you can always jump back by just tapping X, but hitting back and X doesn't do it. You have to, in order to strafe jump, you have to do an action first. Otherwise, it won't work. You always turn in that direction instead. But if you do any action, including jump, suddenly you can strafe jump. Poke, strafe jump. Block, no strafe jumps. But block and attack, it activates your strafe jump. And as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what I would refer to that as a guard reaction, because you're skipping a step in a combo. It's not a combo of attacks, it's a combo of moving though. It's a movement combination that you're skipping. With this weapon, you have to do something in order to be able to get that. One of those things you can do, unfortunately, you cannot activate a block. You can't guard and do it. I think you can even do it after a reload. Hold on. You see? Yeah, even a reload can activate it. But a guard will not activate it. So if you block and get put in a guard reaction, that is enough to activate the ability to sidestep. Out of curiosity though, is the small bump, the really small bump, enough to do the same thing? Because this might be just an incidental like thing that was not really paid attention to. Oh, you can even do it with a small bump. So that's different with the other ones. The small bumps won't let you do the stuff. So this might just be an incidental thing, but it's still technically a guard reaction because you're reacting to guarding, right? You're reacting to a successful guard with a unique thing that you cannot do out of a, like, without having to do other things first, I mean to say. Okay. Let's try max guard. No. Max guard is too much. Oh, no, it actually worked. It's just much tighter. It's much tighter. You have to... I spammed it to get it to work. Yes, you can get it to work still, but it's... The movement, you basically have to input it before you can move. But not so early that it doesn't buffer it. Basically, you get that move as long as it's a buffer of a separate move. And part of the thing that you can buffer it against is being a guard reaction, which is the act of being moved because you successfully guarded an attack. Even if that move is only a flinch, that flinch is enough for the jumping with a strafe. So far that's the only difference. That's the only guard reaction type thing this thing has. I did the triangle stuff already. I didn't do the guard shoot. That seemed the same to me. Now, what else have I not tried? Things related to L2, I think. Okay. Oops. For some reason I just let off shield randomly. Anything else I haven't done? I might have done it all now. This is gonna do anything. Just to be certain, I need to look up the hunter's notes on the gun lance and use its telling me how to do specific things. Fire slinger, both of these things combined, huh? It means like that? That's fucking slinger ammo. That's all weapons. That shouldn't be under fucking this weapon. That should be general controls. It's so weird. Yes, the clutch claw thing. Aim, slinger on speed, yes. Guard. Wyvern fire, we did that. Reloading animations, we tested those. Upward strike, yes. Wait a second. Did I try that versus that? Okay. I don't remember if I tried both the triangles with and without guard. I now have though. Okay, good. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's another thing I can try. pressing L2, press R to load a powerful blast. This blast requires the... Once loaded, you can fire the blast by pressing... Okay, hold on. Let's load the blast. I definitely haven't tried that. Okay, blast is loaded. How do you fire it? Yep, I see it's still loaded. Once loaded, you can fire the Wyvern Blast by pressing triangle and circle again. Nope, that's not how you fire it. I tried twice, my friend. Requires... I mean, maybe. Let's try the tree, maybe? Maybe it is gonna fire it if I do it here? No. I don't... What the hell is it talking about? Not unloading it at all. That's how you do rising slash. That is clearly rising slash. The fuck are they talking about? And I think I know how it's supposed to be done. And it is most certainly not just triangle circle. While present in the slinger, press loaded the powerful blast. This attack requires slinger ammo and all to be used. Some slinger ammo cannot be headshot. The attack will change depending on the amount of type of slinger ammo loaded. So I think I know what I'm supposed to do. It told me to do something different, obviously, but I believe I'm supposed to do it while in this. No. So maybe you can only do it when you would normally apply your thingy. So if I do rising slash into this and then do circle, it'll... Look, that's discharging my thingies, by the way. My bad. Rising crash into... Wait, how do you do this? It's been too long. It's not holding the blast down. Oh, that's actually something I need to test too. The first time you shoot, you are not allowed to charge. See? You have to charge it you have to shoot once, and then you can shoot it. If you hold this down, it doesn't do it. So actually, that's actually something I can test right now before I forget. So, and then hold it down. Nothing. I need to, like, wait longer before I hold it. Oh wait, I have to do it like this. No? Damn it. The timing on this is tricky. Make the explosion... because I have to hold it. But I have to press it just late enough to make it activate while buffering it. And I don't know the exact timing of when it... Oh, come on. Felt like I got it that time. Wait, maybe I can wait for the text on the screen to come back? Like, let's wait. Now? No, it takes way too long to come back. Okay, let's just spam the button. Wait, what the fuck? Was that really the first actionable moment? Okay. Alright, now let's look at the screen. I mean the text up there. Yeah. The first actionable moment's the right after the text shows up. So I can just use that to know when I need to press the button. Oh, it just did a generic fire. I'll press it slightly before that this time. Still a little too early. But later. No. Damn. Is it really, like, not gonna allow me to buffer it at all? There we go. I buffered it slightly, and it did not allow for the charge. So, circle 3 times. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I'm thinking all the attacks that allow you to do this number here. See? That. And I did that with triangle, by the way. I did that with triangle, not with what it said to do. That was fucking triangle. No fucking press of circle at all was happened when that was inserted into that. Wyvern fire. Okay. So right now, if I do that, it says load wormstake. Now let's look at the screen when it says wormstake bass right afterwards. But if you don't do it instantly, you then have to do a normal stake combo, whatever the hell that happens to be. Which is one of them. One of those normal stake combos is this, then the triangle, and then that, and then triangle again, and wormstake cannon. Wait. How would I test this? I do not know. Could try to move the barrels over there. Yeah, I know that's one of the way thingies. I know that's one of them. Because you're only allowed 2 shells, and then you're forced to do a worm stake. Like, even if you have 100 shells, you're gonna go boom, boom, and then you go boom, boom. Yes, I'm aware of that, too. There's lots of ways to do it, but one of those ways is not just going, let's just press triangle circle. That has nothing to do with it. And that's what they said. Alright, so. Damn it. Get your big ass over there. Okay. What? It didn't even work that time. Damn game. Now I can't do it. Now I have to, like, get rid of this. And then start from scratch. Quick reload. Hold down circle to charge shell without having to waste a shell. Ah, okay. So, what you need to do is this, then spam you. Damn it, I still hit it. And then block. Damn, I couldn't block in time. Alright, don't destroy the barrel, please. And then I need to get knocked back towards the barrel. Damn it. I moved it away. Yeah, it was. I don't think that was gonna do anything, anyways. What else have I haven't tested? There's so much shit that you can do. There's so many different weird combinations of buttons with each weapon, and I don't remember all the ones for this that have different effects. Did that. I did that. I did that. I did that. Did that. Useful combos. Burst fire. Yes, I did that. I was hoping for like a burst fire shortcut or something, but no, there was none of that. Worm stake cannon. Strong combo. Lunging thrust. Killing charged. Yeah, I don't think there's anything other than the only thing it activates, which it does activate something. It's the only weapon that the only weapon that still doesn't have anything is the sword and shield, because this one does trigger one thing, and it's this. It's small, but it's something that's triggered. Like something happens when you get a guard reaction. Nothing happens when you get a guard reaction with the sword and shield. I think I've checked everything. I don't really know what else I should check with the gun lance. I don't have the time to do the bow guns. I really need to go to bed. But with the bow guns, part of the thing for the testing would be the fact that I would have to equip lots of shield mods, not just one. Because too much or too little might, you know, be wrong. Damn it. How do you reload? I don't remember. It's been too damn long. Triangle? Ah, yes, it's triangle. Okay. So what if I do this? Damn it, I hit the button before the explosion. Tired. I got eager. Oh, just a normal reload. Normal dodge. What? Why is she looking up into the air? How'd that happen? The fuck happened there? I didn't tell her to aim up like that. You saw I was walking around without aiming. Like, I wasn't aiming because you do this. How the fuck did she just start shooting up into the air? Like, look, she's not shooting anywhere but forward. Like, you can't shoot up unless you tell them to shoot up. What the fuck? See? Like, I can't make her shoot any direction other than up. Oh wait, here we go. After you shoot, you strafe. I wonder if after you do this, you strafe. Nope. Let's reduce the stagger further with more armor. I mean, more guard. I'm not trying the lesser one. Just trying. There we go. The 4th level. Holy shit! There really are 4. That's ridiculous. Reduce the stagger even more. Oh. It does have the normal lance block now, though. Maybe a little bit more delay than a lance before you can move again. What is this? What is this, dude? What is this dance? That's fucking the best thing ever. Alright, I have always preferred sniper shots until today. Now I prefer this just so you could fucking do dumb shit with it. I'm like, get fucked. The bullet went in that direction when she was facing this direction. Did you see it? What the fuck? It went backwards. I think it's gonna be just like the great sword. Even one level of it's gonna be too much, probably. Alright, so we should be at one level, right? Yeah. The great sword just says go fuck yourself, man. So this can get great sword blocking potential. Not fully, of course. It can't use the additional guard features that can use, the counters and all that. Alright. I don't really remember anything else I can do. I can't remember things I can do with the bowgun. I just, look at this! I shot backwards again! Look, I saw it! What the fuck is that? Okay. I love these wyvern hearts from now on. They're my favorites. They're officially my favorite. Like, Wyvern Snipe was my favorite because it just felt like more consistent damage. And I was happy that they buffed Wyvern Heart so that the more you hit the same things that with the enemy without missing, the higher the damage goes. I was like, oh. Wyvern Heart doesn't feel useless anymore, where before it felt like nearly useless unless you built very specifically for it almost. Then it was kind of cool. Especially if you put on a cloak that allowed you to do like stun damage to the monster's head, things like that. There was some niche uses for it. But then once they buffed the damage, that each time you continuously hit the same monster without missing, it goes up slightly. I was like, okay, it does okay damage now. But I still preferred the Wyvern Ignition. I mean, the Wyvern Snipe. I now prefer the Wyvern Heart. And I'll probably never ever shoot another enemy on purpose with it again. Instead, I'm just gonna spin in circles and have bullets just go off in random fucking directions. Leave the barrel, make a 180-degree turn, and just woo! Like, what the fuck? I wonder if you can shoot your stealth and manage to stagger yourself. I wonder if you could manage to stagger yourself with a shot. Or stagger an ally, right? With a bullet that you shot backwards. Like, what the fuck is going on with that? Why does that happen? That is something special. I don't know how the physics of that game's guns work, but I know that there's definitely a separation in the place where the bullets go and the gun and the bullet is pointed. I mean, the gun is pointed. It is not determined by where the bullets are pointed. I mean, where the gun is pointed. The bullets go in the direction of maybe it can't exactly be where you're inputting with your directional pads, because otherwise you would be able to turn it even while aiming it as well. But it's like it's like the game calculates where your positioning is going to be in a half a second from now. Rambo scream. Yeah, Rambo scream if his bullets were like disabled and just did weird things. I think what's happening possibly is that the direction your bullets choose to go is not based on where your gun is pointing. It's based on where your gun will be pointing, or technically where your character is going to be pointing, in about a half a second from now. So when the bullets leave the gun, they predict where you're going to be in about a half a second. So if you're inputting, if you're moving freely like I was in a circle, and then you're inputting a separate movement real fast, and then you do another input right after that in the opposite direction, and you do it at just the right timing so that it does try to do both inputs and cancels them out, and you just kind of wiggle slightly but never really fully turn in either direction, you will only turn about like 5 degrees or so, but your bullet will just shoot behind you. That's what I'm thinking was happening, because that's the only thing I can make sense out of whatever the hell that shit was, where those bullets were going anywhere but where I was pointing the gun sometimes. The best ones were the ones that just shot off behind the gun. They left the barrel of the gun and then went backwards into the sky. Oh my god, dude. That is awesome. I am going to do that shit every fucking time I get Wyvern Heart and I'm using a heavy bowgun. Like, I will never not do that shit. People be like, hey, we're really trying to beat the monster here. Can you use the bullets on the monster? No. No, I cannot. Once these Wyvern Hearts are gone, then I'll get back to fighting the monster with the other ammo. That is silly. I almost want to start using the heavy bowgun again because how silly that shit is. Anyways, good night, everyone. Keep everybody away. Oh my god, dude. I want to like do that someday and then play it back in slow motion so that we can just see the bullets just going whew. Like just I'm sure we'll be able to catch it one time where the gun is facing the camera and then the bullet goes away from the camera so that we can see it leave the barrel of the gun or sort of like just materialize into existence at the barrel of the gun and then shoot off in the wrong direction. Oh man. I wonder if you can pull that off with other ammo. And it's just the fact that the Wyvern snipe, the Wyvern ignition, the Wyvern blast heart fires so quickly that it's more likely to occur because of how quickly it occurs. But you might be able to pull it off with like a cluster bomb if you get the exact framing correctly. And so that you have like a cluster bomb materialize right in front of your gun, but then go in the wrong direction behind you. I've witnessed the opposite actually happen with the a lot, in fact, happen with the whatever it's called, the cluster bombings. I just realized the opposite happens with cluster bombs. The cluster bombs fire wherever you were aiming about a half a second to a full second earlier. So instead of firing wherever you might be aiming soon, that might have been happening with the Wyvern ignition, and I'm just thinking about it backwards too. But instead of firing where but it didn't feel like that because I felt like my character wiggled and it was firing in directions I never faced at that time. But I could be wrong. I'll notice more about it once I start doing it more randomly. But with the 100% with the cluster bombs, what happens is like you get this reticle. Once you hold it long enough, you get this reticle to aim on the ground. And if you rush that reticle forward as fast as you can to get the max range, and then you fire it the instant the reticle is at max range, the cluster bombs will only reach about 2/3 the distance. They'll hit where the reticle was like a long ass time ago, like almost a full second. So if you could turn up your movement speed, maybe on PC, you may be able to do it on PC pretty easy. So if you turn up your mouse's movement speed or your input speed on the like for the aiming, and you max it out with the clusters, and then you rotate real fast before you fire, it might just fire them backwards. Evil showed up. Good night. Yeah, because of cluster bombs. Imagine Evil if you could do some weird techie shit where you're like, don't worry guys, I'll aim in this direction, I won't hit you, and then you somehow fire the cluster bomb backwards and hit your teammates. Like, what the fuck? Like, look, it's not my fault. See, they're magnetically attracted to you. They just go wherever they want, and where they want to go is you. I can't help it. They love you. Anyways, good night, everyone. Yeah, that was a really cool trick. Shooting bullets backwards. I'm definitely going to play with that more. Please, he don't give a damn. Yeah. Well, he can at least pretend to give a damn just so he can mess with people. But I really must go. Because I gotta get something to drink too. I'm like super, 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 super thirsty. I haven't drank anything in a few hours now. All right. Good night, everyone. Look at his face. Yeah. He's like, you got me. You got me.